Congressman Comer saying, listen, if we figure out that Joe Biden really did not understand that he was signing any of these, if these were just kind of rogue aides who were going in with the Autopen and signing these pardons, we could potentially take this to a court, and a court could determine that those pardons do not stand. Those are null and void. Those don't count, because you can't just kind of usurp the power of the president with an Autopen. That doesn't work. That's not how this country is designed to work. An Autopen, yeah, to sign, you're signing a letter to like the Girl Scouts from, Miami, Florida or whatever. Thanks so much for coming to visit the White House. Not on important documents like this. And so I imagine Adam Schiff, Reagan, is probably one of the people, along with all those Jace pardons, Anthony Fauci. There are a lot of them you look at, and these people probably right now are freaking out as well.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that Joe Biden could have done for the Democrats was talk to the New York Times for the first time since becoming president. And he did. He spoke for 10 minutes, and it was unbelievable, this investigation. And two things really stood out to me about this interview. One was that a White House aide told the New York Times that it was very common for Joe Biden to sign off on a topic or a category in which they were going to pardon people, and then they would make little tweaks, add names, take away names, do things from there. And they didn't feel like they needed to check with Joe Biden on every single one. And then they would hand it off to the woman who would sign with the Autopen. And that, to me, is a major red flag. The other thing that's a major red flag to me is that there apparently was this system, the New York Times reports, where Joe Biden would give verbal permission to senior aides who were in on a meeting with them to use the Autopen. So there's no written record that Joe Biden knew what was going on. It was all by word of mouth. Those senior aides would then tell their assistants that Joe Biden gave us permission to use the Autopen. The assistants weren't in the room, so they're just taking the senior aides' words for it. They would then reword that in their wording and email it off to the woman who was manning the Autopen. And then from there, she would sign the pardons or the documents or whatever needed to be Autopen. And I'm so curious, when did they come up with this? How did they realize this was the process they needed to use? What was the specific reason for not having Joe Biden, type down or write in an email when you're in this meeting with him, yes, I give you permission to use the Autopen. He's just verbally using it. And so to me, there's so many red flags, and there's so much that Republicans can use here to get to the bottom of this and to further exploit Democrats and the Biden White House.